Wait, hey, won't sit up. Sit up.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Judge Farrey, and I will be presiding over your first appearance today on April 25th, 2021. Keep in mind that as we are conducting these proceedings, we are streaming live on YouTube so that the courtroom is public to the outside. As I mentioned, my name is Judge Farrey. You are here for your first appearance before the Clayton County Magistrate Court. Keep in mind that we are not here to try your case, nor are we here to take a plea. You are here for the court to inform you of the charges that have been brought against you. I will advise you of certain rights. I will advise you about the bond for those offenses that I am authorized to set bond on. I will advise you about any scheduled preliminary hearing dates if necessary, and we will discuss whether or not you will require the assistance of a court-appointed attorney. Now, you do have the right to remain silent and say nothing, but should you give up this right, anything that you say during this proceeding may be used against you later on in your case if your case goes to trial. So again, I'm going to emphasize that I caution you about making any statements before me here today without the appointment of a lawyer to represent you. Now, during this proceeding and all other proceedings throughout your case, you do have the following rights. You have the right to the presumption of innocence until the state proves your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to indictment by grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors. You have the right to a speedy and public jury trial. You also have the right to hear, see, and cross-examine any witnesses that are called to testify against you. You have the right to compel the attendance of witnesses in your own behalf by subpoena. You have the right to testify and offer other evidence in your own defense should you choose to do so. However, should you choose not to do so, there will be no presumption of your guilt raised against you. You'll also have the right to have an attorney represent you. Some of you will be allowed to post what is called an unrestricted bond for your release from jail pending the prosecution of your case. So I want to talk to you about your different options as it relates to bond. So listen very carefully. If you are granted a bond, you will have three options on how you want to make bond. The first option is a cash bond. If you have the entire bond amount in cash, then you can pay that full amount of the bond in cash to the sheriff's department, and you will pay that amount plus any other fees that the sheriff's department requires. The sheriff will hold it, and after the final disposition of your case, the cash bond will be returned to the person who posted it. So if I tell you that your bond is $1,000 and you have $1,000 in cash to post, then you would pay that to the sheriff's department plus any additional fees. And at the end of your case, that $1,000 will be returned to you. If you cannot make bond by paying cash in full, then you will have the option to use what is called a commercial bond. If you decide to go through a commercial bonding company, it has to be a company that is approved by the Clayton County Sheriff's Department. Now, these bonding companies are private companies. They charge different fees to post the bond for you, and they usually charge up to 15%. Now, I do not work for the bonding company. I cannot tell you sitting here today exactly how much that percentage will be. So please do not ask me about that. But what I can tell you is that whatever fee you pay to the bonding company, that fee does not get returned to you. That is the fee that they charge for their services. For example, if I tell you that your bond is $1,000 and you contact a bonding company and they tell you that they'll charge you 10% plus any fees, then that means you'll have to pay the bonding company $100 plus any fees to be released from jail. Now, the third option that you will have is called a property bond. If you decide to post a property bond, you will need to find someone who has property with net equity in their property for at least 3 times the total of the bond amount. So again, for example, if I tell you that your bond is $1,000 and you want to use property, the property that you use needs to have at least $3,000 net equity in that property in order for you to use it. So those are the 3 options as it relates to bond. Now, some of you will have special conditions to your bond. That special condition will prohibit you from contacting certain people, and it may prohibit you from going to or around certain places. This special condition will be provided to you on your order for bond. Now, should you violate the court's order, your bond will be revoked and you will not be entitled to another bond while you wait for trial. So if I tell you that as a special condition of your bond, you are to have no contact with a particular individual, that means no contact. Directly, indirectly, you can't go through a third party, no phone calls, emails, texts, not even social media. No contact means no contact. If I mentioned that you are not to return to a certain property, you cannot go back to those premises. Now, if it is a property where you share that residence with the alleged victim, and I tell you that you cannot return, just let me know that it is a shared residence, and I will be able to allow you to go back to that residence to collect some of your personal items, so long as you are accompanied by a sheriff's office employee, and so long as you make sure that that happens within 10 days of being released. Now, if you violate any condition to your bond, there may be an additional charge of aggravated stalking, influencing a witness, or any other charges that we may be able to bring against you by law. You could be sentenced up to 10 years in prison. You can also be fined up to $20,000. So keep that in mind. Now, if you are using a family member to help you with posting bond, if that family member is considered to be the victim in your case, that family member will not be able to post the bond for you. You will have to find someone else to help you post that bond. Some of you are charged with offenses for which this court is not authorized by law to set a bond for you at all. In this case, if you do not receive a bond today, you will receive a court date specifically for your bond hearing, and that court date will be June 18th, 2021. If you are currently on active probation, this court is not authorized to set a bond. We will give your probation officer an opportunity to decide whether he or she wants to file a warrant to revoke your probation. And this is typically done at the preliminary hearing. So each of you will receive a court date before you leave here today. That court date is called a preliminary hearing. A preliminary hearing is a probable cause hearing. Now, the purpose of that preliminary hearing is to determine whether or not there is enough evidence or probable cause to keep you detained in jail on the charges until your case goes to trial. If you bond out, your preliminary hearing date will be waived, because the purpose of the preliminary hearing is to determine whether or not there's enough evidence to keep you detained. So if you're no longer detained and you end up bonding out, that preliminary hearing date will be waived and you will receive a new court notice in the mail. For those of you that are charged with only misdemeanors, you will have the option, if you want, to waive your preliminary hearing. Just let me know when you come before me that you want to waive it. Again, if you bond out, it's going to be waived anyway. So I want to give you those dates. Specifically, if you're charged with only misdemeanors, your court date for your preliminary hearing will be June 15th. If you are charged with felonies or felonies and misdemeanors, your court date is going to be June 14th. But I will repeat those dates again as each of you come before me. Also, keep in mind, this is a formal court proceeding. Although we are appearing by Zoom video conference, this is still a court proceeding. Govern yourselves accordingly and show respect to the court and the jail staff. If for some reason I am not able to conduct your hearing today because you're being disruptive, I will have to reset you for another date for you to have your first appearance. So please be respectful when you come before the court. If everyone can go ahead and raise their right hand so I can swear each of you in. Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you'll give before the court or the statements that have been made on your court-appointed counsel forms is true and correct? If so, say I do and lower your hands. Okay. All right, thank you. So we'll go ahead and start with the ladies first. And the first person I have on my list is Ebony Brittle. Good morning. Are you Ebony Brittle?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Brittle, you have been charged with 1 count of battery. Your bond is being set at $5,000. Do you understand the charge and your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
So you will have a special condition to your bond, and that is to have no contact with Janice Dillard. Do you know who that is?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so you cannot have any contact with her. Do you all reside in the same residence?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Are you requesting the assistance of a court-appointed counsel to represent you?
No, Your Honor.
What do you plan to do as far as an attorney? Do you plan to represent yourself or hire your own attorney?
Hire my own attorney.
Okay. I have scheduled your preliminary hearing date for June 15th, 2021. You will receive, if you bond out like you think you'll be able to, you will receive a new court notice in the mail. Okay, do you have any questions for me, Ms. Brittle?
Oh, ma'am.
All right, well, you may be excused. Have a good day.
Okay.
The next person I have is Tamisha Bruce. Are you Ms. Bruce?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Ms. Bruce, you have been charged with several offenses: possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act, that's specifically with the intent to distribute marijuana, trafficking ecstasy, manufacturing edibles, being in possession of drug-related objects, and theft by receiving stolen property, firearms. You do not have a bond at this time. Do you understand the charges that have been brought against you, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
I have scheduled your preliminary hearing date for June 14th, 2021. I am also scheduling a bond hearing date for you for June 18th of 2021. Are you requesting to be considered for a court-appointed attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have approved your request for a court-appointed attorney. Do you have any questions for me, ma'am?
No, ma'am.
Okay, you may be excused.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good morning. Are you Ms. Nia Connor?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Connor, you have been charged with 1 count of obstructing an officer. Your bond amount is $1,500. Do you understand the charge and the bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
I hope so. I probably have to call one person, and they said they'll do it whatever it takes, so, our fingers crossed.
Okay. Are you requesting the assistance of a court-appointed attorney to represent you?
Please, anything will.
It's showing that you do not have a job. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I will appoint an attorney to represent you, and that attorney will be in contact. Your preliminary hearing date is being scheduled for June 15th, 2021. If you do bond out, then that court date will be waived and you'll receive a new notice in the mail. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't think so. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Ms. Connor. Have a good day.
You too.
I have Danielle Darrow.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning. You have been charged with one count of driving on a suspended license. Your bond amount is $1,500. Do you understand your charge and your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you requesting to be considered for a court-appointed attorney?
No, ma'am.
Okay, what do you plan to do for an attorney? Do you plan to represent yourself or hire your own lawyer?
Hire my own.
You said hire your own attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Your preliminary hearing date is being scheduled for June 15th, 2021. That court date will be waived if you do bond out. Do you have any questions for me?
No, ma'am.
All right, you may be excused. Have a good day.
Thank you, you too.
You're welcome. Good morning. May I have your name?
Marcia Dudley.
Okay. Ms. Dudley, you have been charged with 2 counts of criminal trespass. The bond on those charges is $2,500 each. You have 1 charge of simple battering. That bond amount is $5,000. And then 1 charge of false imprisonment. That bond amount is $10,000. So your total bond here today is $20,000. Do you understand your charges and your bond amount?
Yeah.
You do have a special condition on your bond, and that is to have no contact with Stephen Francois.
Francois.
I'm sorry?
Francois.
Yes, it's spelled Francois.
Yeah.
Okay. And I am stating that you cannot return to 581 Lead Way in Jonesboro, Georgia. Do you understand those conditions?
Yeah.
Is that a shared residence?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Do you have belongings that you need to go back and retrieve?
Yes, I have a lot of stuff there.
Okay, so I'm going to indicate on here that you can schedule an appointment with the sheriff's department to accompany you, so that way you can go back to the residence to retrieve some of your undisputed belongings. Meaning that if you and Mr. Steven are fighting about whose couch it is or whose stuff it is, essentially you're gonna have to leave it. So you can collect any undisputed personal belongings within 10 days of being released from jail. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. I am scheduling your preliminary hearing date for June 14th because one of your charges, the false imprisonment, is being charged as a felony. So your preliminary hearing date is June 14th, 2021. Are you requesting to be considered for a court-appointed attorney?
No,
Okay. What do you plan to do for an attorney?
I'm gonna hire my own.
Okay. All right, so I've indicated you will hire your own attorney. If you bond out, that court date will be waived and you'll receive a new notice in the mail. Just make sure we have your updated address. Let me make sure Ms. Dudley, let me make sure I have the right address on here. As far as the residence where you all were, what exactly is that address?
351 Leadway in Jonesboro.
Okay. Are you familiar with the 581 Leeway?
No.
So the residence where you all live together is 351?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna make sure I indicate that on here so that way it's the correct address and the sheriffs will be able to accompany you there. For some reason, it says 581. The city is Jonesboro, is that right?
Yeah,
30238.
yeah.
Okay, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, first with the bond, would someone be able to pay it online? Because I don't have family out here.
I don't know, ma'am. I don't work for the bonding company. Those are good questions that you can ask the bonding company. I have no idea.
Okay,
All right. Any other questions?
that's it, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day. Good morning. Are you Mandy Holmes?
Yes, please.
Okay. Ms. Holmes, you've been charged with 2 counts. One count of possession of marijuana less than an ounce. That bond amount is $1,500. The second account is use or possession of drug-related objects. I have dismissed that count because it was insufficient probable cause. So you only have one charge. So your total bond is $1,500. Do you understand your charge and your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you requesting a court-appointed attorney to represent you?
No, ma'am.
What do you plan to do for representation?
I'm trying to get an attorney.
Okay. So I'm going to indicate on here that you plan to hire your own attorney. However, I did review your application and you would be approved for a court-appointed attorney. So I'll still go ahead and approve you. But I am indicating that you plan to hire your own attorney. So if the court-appointed attorney reaches out and you've already hired someone else, just make sure you let them know that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And your preliminary hearing date is being scheduled for June 15th. But if you bond out, that court date will be waived, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Have a DeAndrea Johnson. Are you Miss Johnson?
Yes.
Good morning. Okay, so you have one charge of possession of cocaine. It's being charged as a felony. That bond amount is $5,000. Do you understand your charge and your bond amount?
Yes.
Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes.
Are you requesting the assistance of a court-appointed attorney, or do you plan to hire your own attorney?
I don't know. I'm not sure right now. I would say the appointed attorney right now.
Okay, I'm looking at your application and you mentioned that you're employed, but you did not mention your monthly income. What is your gross monthly income?
It depends on what assignment I'm on. It varies. I would say
Well, just give me an average.
5,000, 6,000 a month.
Okay, so you will have to hire your own counsel, Ms. Johnson, to represent you. So I will not be able to approve you for a court-appointed attorney. I have scheduled your preliminary hearing date for June 14th, 2021. But if you do bond out, that court date will be waived and you'll receive a new notice in the mail. Do you have any questions for me, ma'am? Okay, well, you may be excused. Have a good day. Good morning. Are you Janine or Jenny New?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and excuse me if I mispronounce your name. All right, you've been charged with one count of criminal trespass. Your bond amount is $2,500. Do you understand your charge and your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you requiring the assistance of a court-appointed attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I've reviewed your application and you do qualify, so I am appointing an attorney to represent you. I have scheduled your preliminary hearing date for June 15th. If you do bond out, that court date will be waived and you'll receive a new notice in the mail. Do you have any questions, Ms. New?
No, ma'am, that'll be all.
Okay, have a good day.
Thank you, you too.
You're welcome. Good morning, are you Brittany Perry?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Ms. Perry, you have been charged with 1 count of criminal damage in the 2nd degree. That bond amount is $2,500. Do you understand your charge and your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I am adding a special condition on here to not have any contact with Tornado Bryant. Do you know who that is?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna have on here, don't have any contact with him until your case has been resolved or until this bond condition has been modified by another judge. Are you requesting the assistance of a court-appointed attorney?
Yes, I could.
Okay, I have on here that you are unemployed, is that correct?
Yes, yes, my husband was, well, he gets a check every month because he has sickle cells and I had child support coming in, so.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and approve you for a court-appointed counsel. So I
Okay.
have appointed someone to represent you. Your preliminary hearing date is being scheduled. Let me see. Your preliminary hearing date is going to be scheduled for June 14th. Just so you know, because of the value of the property, your criminal damage in the 2nd degree is being charged as a felony because of the value. So your preliminary hearing date is June 14th. Now, if you bond out, that court date will be waived and you'll receive a new notice in the mail, okay? Do you have
Okay.
any questions for me, Ms. Perry?
No, ma'am, you said the bond was $2,000?
$2,500.
Okay, all right.
All right, have a good day.
You too.
Thank you. I think for us.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
All right, thank you. Okay, Deputy, I'm ready for you.
Yes, ma'am. One, Your Honor.
Good morning. May I have your name?
Solomon Bakar can't afford me and pay.
Your name.
Solomon Bakar, man.
Bakar. Okay, hold on, sir. Okay, hold on. You have 1 charge of disorderly conduct and your bond is $1,500. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
No, I will not be able to make bond, ma'am.
Okay. Are you requesting the assistance of a court-appointed attorney?
Yes.
Okay, do you work?
No, I do not work. I live on the streets.
You do what?
I live on the streets.
Okay, so you don't receive any type of government assistance or any type of income or check? What do you receive?
I get SSA.
Okay.
Get SSA.
All right, so how much do you receive per month in SSI?
$790.
You said $790?
Yes, that's all I get.
Okay. Okay, so I am indicating on here that you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney, so I'm going to get someone to represent you. Do you have an address or a phone number where the attorney can contact you?
Yes, I'm retired. I just go back on the streets.
Okay, so what contact information do you have? Do you have a phone number?
678-704-3588, Donnell Henry.
Okay, 678-704. What was the rest of it?
3588 Donnell. He's the only one that looks after me.
I'm sorry, I'm not catching the last few numbers.
My dad, Donnell, Joanne,
Last four, your phone number.
3588.
75? Oh, 35.
Yeah, 3588 going.
Okay, so 678-704-3588, sir.
That's his number.
Okay, that's your
Dad, Donnell Henry.
okay. Give me 1 second. Let me indicate that. Okay, so you said you do not believe you'll be able to make bonds, sir?
No, I will not. I live on the streets.
Okay, do you want to waive your preliminary hearing date? That's the June.
I'll take a signature bond.
Okay, so I can't do a signature bond, but if you want to waive your preliminary hearing date, then you don't have to wait till June 15th to come before a judge. If you waive it, then your case will move a lot faster, and so you'll have a court date before June 15th.
I'll waive it.
You do want to waive your preliminary hearing date?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Deputy. So if we can get Mr. Bakar a waiver form, please. So Mr. Bakar, they're going to give you a waiver form. I want you to sign it and make sure you spell your name out so that way I know that it's you. Okay. And so we'll waive your preliminary hearing date and you'll receive a new notice of when you have to come back to court. But make sure you keep in touch with the court because I don't have an address for you. But I did appoint an attorney to represent you. Okay, Mr. Bakar?
Okay.
Okay, do you have any questions, sir?
No, I'm suffer while I'm in here.
I'm sorry, what's your question?
I'm a suffer.
I didn't hear you, sir. What was your question?
Okay. Okay.
There's no question on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
Whoa. Great. Moment. Down the road. We're not gonna go in. All right, I'll do what you said.
Okay, good morning. May I have your name?
Jonathan, right?
Okay. Okay, so Mr. Bray, you have been charged with 1 count of possession of marijuana, less than an ounce, violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act, 2 charges of violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act, as well as driving on a suspended license. The bond for the possession of marijuana less than an ounce is $1,500. The bond for driving on a suspended license is $1,500. I am not authorized to set bond on the other 2 charges, which is a violation of Georgia Controlled Substances Act. I am showing an active probation here in Clayton County, a 5-year probation as of 2019. And it also looks like there's an active probation out of Cobb County as well as of 2020. It's a 10-month, 15-day probation. I am going to schedule you for a bond hearing. That bond hearing is going to be scheduled for June 18th, 2021. So that way the issue of bond can be addressed at that time. And if your probation officers haven't dealt with this issue prior to then that will be handled at that time. They will have an opportunity to weigh in on what they want to have happen. I am also scheduling you for a preliminary hearing date, and that will be June 14th, 2021. So you will be brought up to appear before the court at that time. I see here that you did not complete a court-appointed attorney application. Do you plan to hire your own attorney, sir?
I don't understand those charges. Those charges don't know me.
So what I can do, Mr. Bray, is I can read what was contained within the warrantless arrest affidavit. I can read those details to you as far as how those charges came about. Do you want me to read that out loud?
You can read them, but none of those charges don't belong to me.
Okay, so remember when I mentioned earlier today that this is not the proceeding to try your case. So I'm just here to tell you what your charges are and to make sure you understand the facts that led to it. On the warrantless arrest affidavit, it states that on April 24th, 2021, the officer was en route to a burglary at 5761 Rock Shoals Court in College Park, Georgia. The officer came across the offender, Jonathan Bray, who is suspected to be involved in the burglary. The offender was operating a 2007 Mercedes CL 550 Georgia temporary tags P2195139. Upon checking the offender through the Georgia Crime Information Center, the offender came back with warrants and a suspended license. The offender was then placed into custody. Upon searching the offender was in possession of marijuana and cocaine in his front right pocket. The white powdery substance was tested in the field and returned positive for cocaine. Upon searching the vehicle, two Schedule II hydrocodone pills were found in the offender's book bag within arm's reach. This event took place in Clayton County, Georgia. So those were the facts stated on the warrantless arrest affidavit. Going back, I'm sorry.
That's not me though. I'm in here for trust.
Mr. Bray, hang on, because I want to make sure that I am telling you everything you need to know here today, okay? I read those statements to you. I understand you dispute it, Mr. Bray. It's not saying that you agree with it, but today is not the day to dispute it. You're definitely going to have an opportunity to do that. Remember, I mentioned to you that court date of June 14, 2021?
No,
That's your prelim. Let me finish, sir, because when I finish, I will give you an opportunity to speak. All right. I want to make sure we can conduct these proceedings, because if I can't finish, I'm going to have to bring you back on another day and we'll try again. All right. So let me finish. So the preliminary hearing date that I mentioned to you is June 14, 2021. You will have an opportunity to dispute whether or not there's enough probable cause to keep you detained on these charges. Do you want to be considered for a court-appointed attorney? Because otherwise, if I don't have the information needed to make that determination, you'll have to hire your own attorney. Do you want to be considered for a court-appointed attorney, yes or no?
I don't see what. Yeah, I need an attorney, but I don't charge. That y'all probably got another Zoom.
She just asked you one particular question, so yes or no else. All the other stuff we don't need.
How much do you earn per month, Mr. Bray?
I'm not sure. Like $1,000.
I'm sorry?
Like $1,000.
You said $1,000 a month, sir? Okay, so I am indicating on here that you stated under oath that you earn $1,000 a month. I'm gonna go ahead and approve you for a court-appointed attorney. And like I mentioned, you have those two hearing dates, your bond hearing date of June 18th, your preliminary hearing date of June 14th. Now, do you have a question about the preliminary hearing date, your court-appointed counsel, or the bond hearing date?
When you said that date was?
Your bond hearing date is June 18th.
What's the date right now?
Today is April 25th, okay? And so you can.
That next month?
I'm sorry?
Is that next month?
No, today is April 25th. So your bond hearing date is June 18th. So talk to your court-appointed counsel, talk to your probation officers. They may be able to work something out before then. If not, we will have a bond hearing on June 18th and your preliminary hearing on June 14th. Okay, you may be excused, sir.
How you doing, Your Honor? Mr. Kira Carter.
Good afternoon, sir. Okay, so Mr. Carter, you've been charged with 1 count of aggravated stalking. And I am not authorized to set a bond on that charge. So you don't have bond at this time. I am scheduling your bond hearing date for June 18th, and the issue of bond will be addressed at that time. I am also scheduling your preliminary hearing date for June 14th, 2021. And at that time, there will be a hearing held to determine whether or not there is enough probable cause to keep you detained. Do you understand what I've mentioned as far as bond and your hearing dates?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you plan to hire your own attorney, or do you want to be considered for a court-appointed attorney?
I get a court appointment.
Okay, you do qualify. So I am appointing an attorney to represent you in these proceedings. Do you have any questions, Mr. Carter?
No, what did that do that, 2020? I've been out of a year and a half. I'm trying to see how aggravated was stalking. I've been locked up for a year.
Well, I'll tell you, to answer your question, yes, it does state on the warrant that on June 8th, 2020, that you knowingly, willfully, without consent, and with the purpose of harassing and intimidating Latasha Ross, contacted Latasha Ross while you were incarcerated in the Clayton County Jail through a third-party contact, and that this contact was in violation of a family violence protective order that was signed by Judge Christopher Brasher out of Fulton County Superior Court back on June 5th of 2020. And that was case number 2020 CV 336849. So that is the allegation that was stated in the warrant. Do you have any other questions for me, Mr. Carter?
No, ma'am.
All right, you may be excused. Have a good day.
He's coming, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Edwards.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Edwards. You have been charged with 1 count of battery. That bond is being set at $5,000. You've also been charged with 1 count of smoking in a prohibited public place. I have dismissed that charge for insufficient probable cause. So you just have the battery charge. So your total bond is $5,000. Do you understand your charge and your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so there is a special condition. You are to have no contact with Brittany McKinney. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your preliminary hearing date is being scheduled for June 15th, 2021. Are you requesting the assistance of a court-appointed attorney? Okay, I have reviewed your application. You do qualify, so I am appointing an attorney to represent you. You have any questions for me, sir?
Is there any way I get a signature line?
No, sir, not on a battery charge.
One more question. What is that, a misdemeanor or a felony?
Your battery charge? It's a misdemeanor.
Well, that's it.
Okay, have a good day.
Your Honor,
Yes.
the next guy is gonna be Hernandez, the translator. Is that-
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Hernandez. What about Ventura as well? Ramirez Ventura?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so we will save those for last because I'll have to get the interpreter on the line.
Okay.
Nelson Leroy. Leroy Nelson, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Mr. Nelson. You have been charged with 1 count of burglary. That charge is, the bond amount for that charge is $25,000. You also have a charge of criminal damage in the 2nd degree. That bond amount is $2,500. You also have a misdemeanor charge of stalking. That bond amount is $2,500. So your total bond is $30,000. Do you understand your charges and your bond amount? Is that a yes? I didn't hear you.
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
No.
You said no?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I am indicating, excuse me, on this bond order that you do have a special condition, which is to not have any contact with Darshell Nelson. Do you understand that? Okay, and you are not to return to the premises located at 105 Oreo Drive in Jonesboro, Georgia. Is that a shared residence?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you don't need to go back to retrieve any personal belongings, right? Okay, so I am scheduling your preliminary hearing date for June 14th, 2021. If you're still detained, you will be able to come before the court. You'll be brought up before the court to determine whether or not there's enough probable cause to keep you detained on these charges. I am reviewing your court-appointed counsel application. And based on your statements, I am approving you for a court-appointed attorney, and that attorney will be in contact. Do you have any questions for me, sir? Okay, well, you may be excused. Have a good day.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Justin Ishmael Gill.
Okay. Hello, Mr. O'Malley. Okay, so you've been charged with one count of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, as well as obstruction or hindering EMT. So I have set a bond on the obstruction or hindering EMT. That amount is $2,500. I am not setting a bond on the aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. I'm also showing that looks like you are on active probation for aggravated assault. It's a 5-year probation out of DeKalb County that started in 2017. So I am denying bond at this time, sir, but I am scheduling your bond hearing for June 18th. And so the issue of bond can be addressed at that time. Do you understand the charges and what I've mentioned about bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm scheduling a preliminary hearing date for you as well, and that's going to be June 14th, 2021. So if you are still in custody at that time, you will be brought before the court to determine whether or not there's enough probable cause to keep you detained on those charges. I have reviewed your application for a court-appointed attorney. You do qualify, so I have appointed an attorney to represent you as well. Do you have any questions, sir?
Could I waive those dates so I could get it faster? Because those are swap file charges. I want to
Well,
the preliminary.
Well, you don't have a bond on the felony charge, so you're not going to be able to waive that one. I mean, you can waive the misdemeanor, but it's not going to really make a difference for you.
So never mind, just let it go how.
Okay. Do you have any other questions, sir?
Could I write down those dates, please, before I go in myself?
You can talk to the deputies there about it. If you can write down those dates, that's the June 14th. June 14th, that's the preliminary hearing. And then June 18th is your bond hearing. All right. Anything else, sir? Okay, have a good day.
Right. Good morning, ma'am. Ronaldo Parks.
Hello, Mr. Parks. You said Ronaldo Parks?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, Mr. Parks, you've been charged with criminal trespass. That bond is $4,000. Battery, family violence, that bond is $6,000. Theft by taking, that bond is $10,000. So your total bond is $20,000. Do you understand what I've mentioned about your charges and your bond amount? Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
There is a special condition, Mr. Parks, and that is to have no contact with Shamika Pace. Do you know who that is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you are to not have any contact with her, and you cannot return to the location at 5055. It sounds like Sepulveda Lane, that's spelled Sepulveda Lane, Atlanta, Georgia 30349. Do you understand that condition as well, sir? Okay. All right. Are you requesting the assistance of a court-appointed attorney?
No, ma'am, I'm good, Lord.
Okay, you said you're going to hire your own attorney? Okay, so I've indicated that on the documents that you're going to hire your own attorney. I am scheduling your preliminary hearing date for June 14th. So you will receive that notice in the mail. However, if you bond out, you'll receive a new notice. Okay. Any questions for me, Mr. Parks?
No, you said 20,000, right?
$20,000 is your total bond amount. All right, you can have a good day.
Your Honor,
Yes.
next for Mr. Reed, EOTB.
Okay, thank you.
All right, you got Jamal here. Jamal, single names.
Jamal Smith.
Speak up, brother. Speak up.
Jamal Smith. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Smith, you have been charged with several offenses: possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act, that is specifically with the intent to distribute marijuana, another violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act, and that's trafficking ecstasy. Another charge of violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act, and that's manufacturing edibles. You also have a possession of drug-related objects, as well as theft by receiving stolen property, firearms. You do not have a bond at this time. I am not authorized to set bond. I am scheduling your bond hearing date, however, for June 18th, 2021, and the issue of bond will be addressed at that time. Do you understand what I've mentioned as far as the charges and your bond?
No.
You will also be scheduled for a preliminary hearing date, which is June 14th, 2021. Are you requesting the assistance of a court-appointed attorney, sir?
Right now I am, but I probably need to hire my own attorney.
Okay, let me take a look at your application. Did you complete an application? Oh, I see it here. Well, no, it doesn't look like you completed it.
Never figured one out now.
You did not fill one out? Okay, so let me go ahead and ask you a couple of questions, sir. Do you have a job?
Yes, ma'am.
What would you say you earn per month on average?
Since COVID, probably like 1,500 a dollar.
About 1,500 a month? Do you own any real estate? Okay. Do you rent somewhere? Are you married? Have you ever served in the U.S. military? All right, so I am going to appoint counsel to represent you. I'm going to grant your request, sir. If you do end up hiring an attorney, like you believe you'll be able to do, just let your court-appointed attorney know that. They are going to reach out to you at the jail, so someone will be in contact. Okay, do you have any questions, Mr. Smith?
when they arrested me from my house, they towed my car for no reason, and I see I'm gonna be in here till June. Is there a way I can get my car to impound? I know by June it'll be $5,000 probably to get my car to impound.
I think the best person to help you with that would probably be your court-appointed attorney. When they come out to see you, talk to them about those issues, and maybe they can assist you with that. Or you'll probably just have to make some phone calls to family members or friends to see if they can assist you with that. But essentially, your court-appointed counsel will be the best person to start with. All right. Do you have any other questions about what I've mentioned here today? Okay, well, you may be excused. Have a good day, sir.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Starkey.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Starkley. You have been charged with one count of possession of marijuana, one count of tampering with evidence, one count of obstruction of an officer. Each of those charges are $1,500, so your total bond amount is $4,500. Do you understand your charges and your bond amount?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Your preliminary hearing date I am scheduling for June 14th, 2021. Are you requesting the assistance of a court-appointed attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me take a look and see if you qualify. One moment. Okay, you've indicated that you're unemployed. Is that accurate? Okay, so I am going to grant your request and appoint an attorney to represent you. Do you have any questions for me, sir?
No, ma'am.
Okay, you may be excused. Thank you. Okay, hello, Mr. Sullivan. You have 3 driving related offenses. That's driving while unlicensed, that bond is $1,000. Suspended registration, that bond is $500. And driving with no insurance, that bond is $1,000. So your total bond is $2,500. Do you understand your charges and your bond? Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
But can I ask you something? Do y'all do like signature bonds? Signature bonds?
No, I am not inclined to do a signature bond on this. But you can talk to a bonding company because, as I mentioned, they'll only charge you up to 15% of this $2,500. Are you requesting the assistance of a court-appointed attorney?
I get my own.
Okay, so I am going to indicate on here that you plan to hire your own attorney because I didn't see that you completed a court-appointed counsel form, right? Okay. All right. Your preliminary hearing date is being scheduled for June 15th, 2021. If you bond out, then you will receive a new court notice in the mail. Do you have any questions for me, sir?
So my bond is on $2,500.
Yes, your total bond is $2,500. So you can post it in cash in full, or you can go through a bonding company to pay a percentage of that.
You don't see anything else up there for me?
I'm sorry?
You don't see anything else up there for me, like the $2,500 I've been paid.
You're only in front of me on those 3 charges that I mentioned to you. Now, whether there's pending charges somewhere else or any other matter that may hold you, that I don't know. So this is the only thing I have in front of me today. Okay? All right. You're welcome. Have a good day.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Vernon Walker.
Hello, Mr. Walker. You said Vernon Walker? Okay. All right, Mr. Walker. So you have been charged with 1 count of open container. That bond is $500. 1 count of laying drags. That bond amount is $500. And 1 count of obstruction of a law enforcement officer. and that bond is $1,500. So your total bond amount is $2,500. Do you understand your bond and your charges?
And when I go to court, is there any way, the obstruction thrown out? Do I wait when I go to court?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
On the charge of the obstruction, why would I go to court to try to get that thrown out, try to see if I can get done about that? Or?
Well, you will have an opportunity to address these charges. It just won't be today. So yes, you can certainly contest that, all right? Just because you understand the charge doesn't mean that you're agreeing to it. You're presumed innocent until proven guilty. Are you planning on hiring your own attorney, or do you want to be considered for a court-appointed attorney?
Actually, I want to represent myself.
Okay, so you want to represent yourself? Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna indicate on here that you want to represent yourself, but based on what you filled out on this application for a court-appointed attorney, you do qualify for one. So I'll at least approve you for a court-appointed attorney, okay? But if for some reason you want to represent yourself moving forward, just let that attorney know, and they will indicate the same to the court. Your preliminary hearing date is being scheduled for June 15th, 2021, but if you bond out, then that court date will be waived and you'll receive a new court date in the mail. All right, do you have any questions for me, Mr. Walker?
No, ma'am, Your Honor, that's it for today.
Okay, well, have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hello, you said, what's your name?
Washington.
Oh, Kane Washington. Okay. All right, Mr. Washington, you have been charged with 1 count of battery, family violence. That bond is $6,000. You also have 1 count of criminal trespass, damage to property. That bond is $3,000. So your total bond is $9,000. Do you understand the charges and your bond amount? Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
I don't.
I am scheduling your preliminary hearing date for June 15th, 2021. So if you were still detained at that time, you will be brought before the court to address whether or not there's enough evidence or sufficient probable cause to keep you detained on your charges. Do you plan to represent yourself, or do you want to be considered for a court-appointed attorney?
Attorney, please.
Okay, so I saw that you completed the application, but you did not indicate any information as to your income. Are you working?
I was working for Georgia government.
How long have you been out of work?
A week now.
I'm sorry, what was that?
A week now.
Okay, so I am going to appoint an attorney to represent you, sir. Like I mentioned, your preliminary hearing date is going to be scheduled for June 15th, 2021. If you want to waive that preliminary hearing date, you can, and it'll move your case a lot quicker if you don't think you'll be able to make bond. Otherwise, if you're still detained, like I mentioned, you'll be brought before the court at that time on June 15th.
I believe it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you're going to be provided with a waiver form. And when the deputies provide you with that waiver form, just make sure you indicate clearly that you are the one signing that waiver. So I need to be able to read that it's you so we can waive that court date, and then you'll receive a new court date in the mail. Now, you do have a special condition to your bond that I want to make sure you know about, and that is to have no contact with Nicole Washington. All right. Do you all share a residence together?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so I will allow you to go to that residence just to retrieve your personal belongings from there. Once you are released from jail, you have to be accompanied by the sheriff's office to do that within 10 days. What is that address that you all share together?
We just stay out of hotels.
So you all don't have I guess, a personal residence? Okay. What address is the 628 Southside Commercial Parkway?
Commercial Parkway. I'm not sure.
Okay. It indicates on here that the alleged incident took place at 628 Southside Commercial Parkway in Jonesboro, Georgia. Is that a hotel?
Yes.
Okay. Is that where you all were sharing your residence together?
Yes.
Okay. The reason I'm asking, Mr. Washington, is because if you have some personal items to get, I need to indicate on the bond order that you can go back to that particular location to get some of your personal belongings. So that's why I'm trying to figure out where your personal items are. Now, if you don't have any personal items to get, I don't have to put that on here. But do you have any personal items?
We're from Florida. Our original address is 1606 Yellow Pine Court.
Mm-hmm.
That's our address. We're from Florida.
Oh, okay. So that's the address in Florida. Okay. So is there a location where you need to go back and retrieve some of your belongings? No? Okay. All right. So I'm just indicating on here then that you just cannot have any contact with Nicole Washington. Okay. Do you have any questions for me, sir? Okay. Don't forget to sign your waiver form and you may be excused.
No, Mr. Whitley, I'm gonna turn the camera around, he's in a wheelchair.
Oh, okay. That's fine. Thank you.
You can hit you, Mr. Whitley. Okay. Tell me your name.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is
Hello, Mr. Whitney. All right. So you have been charged with one count of aggravated assault, family violence. That bond is being set at $25,000. Do you understand the charge and your bond amount?
Yes.
Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
Yes.
All right, you do have a special condition to this bond, and that is to have no contact with Anisha Hayes and Clarissa Bell. Do you know who those individuals are?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm sorry?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you cannot have any contact with them. Do you all share a residence together?
No, ma'am.
All right. I have scheduled your preliminary hearing date for June 14th, 2021. But if you bond out, that hearing date will be waived and you'll receive a new notice in the mail. Do you plan to hire your own attorney or do you want to be considered for a court-appointed attorney?
I consider it, if I find one, I'll just let it know.
Okay, so I've just reviewed your application and you are qualified to have representation by a court-appointed counsel. So I have approved that. And if you do obtain your own attorney, just let the court-appointed counsel know. Do you have any questions for me, Mr. Whitney? Okay, well, you may be excused. Have a good day.
And we only had a Hispanic, Your Honor.
Okay, sounds good. Well, give me a few minutes. Stand by and I'll go ahead and get the interpreter on the line. Thank you.
I gotta get one of him. I got it. Vete de aquí, vete de aquí, poco. 1, 2, 3. Gracias. Let's see, I get all 3. Okay. Hey, ask him how much you said,
And you bought both of them?
Deputy, who are the three individuals? Because I just have Ventura and Hernandez.
You got, what's your name? Number? I got, say that again, you all, I'm
You
sorry.
got
I
Renee,
just have Hernandez and Ventura.
yeah, it's two of them.
It's two Ventura.
You got Ventura, they two brothers, and you got Hernandez.
Oh, okay. I see. All right, I see that here. Okay, thank you. All right, please hold.
You said 25. 25,000. And you gotta do one, the second guy, it's gonna let him come out. I put bond, and he told CEO, no, I said, I'm charged. You know what? Because you take them back to court. Yeah, I take them back up to the booking, and then he'll send them to jail. Yeah. Good, I know. Yeah. Well, I see. If they say anything, I just take it like the way it is. Like what? Or the way he talking about it. They call it, Louis Brown talking about the part of me around saying that he should have had them. Things that get take off and step on it, take some horse. So, yeah. Hey. I just make the like, you look. Sure. So I can't. Take care. Did you take it back? Yes, sir. Okay, thank you. You said leave it down. Yeah, leave it down as well. Yeah, that's on camera, it's my show. It's one. Yeah. I'll let you go talk to myself. If you do the company, do it for you. Yeah, I think for I know, it's a ball. Yeah. Children.
Okay, so Madam Interpreter, thank you for being on the line. Before we proceed, if I can go ahead and swear you in, so if you can raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that you would translate from English to Spanish and from Spanish to English in accordance with your training and experience?
I do.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Okay, deputies, I'm ready. If you all can unmute.
Okay, Your Honor.
Okay, Deputy, did y'all hear the interpreter just fine?
Yes.
Okay, all right, excellent. So Madam Interpreter, we'll go ahead and begin. So listen up, gentlemen, this is your first appearance before the Clayton County Magistrate Court.
Señor, esta es tu comparecencia inicial ante el Tribunal Magistrado del Condado de Clayton.
I am here to tell you about the charges against you, to tell you about certain rights, to set bond on your charges, and to schedule a preliminary hearing date if necessary.
Yo estoy aquí para explicarle cuáles son los cargos en contra suya, para explicarle algunos de sus derechos y también para fijar la fianza, además de agendar una audiencia preliminar en caso de que esto sea necesaria.
I am also here to determine whether you will require the assistance of an attorney appointed by the court.
También estoy aquí para determinar si va a ser necesario que usted cuente con la ayuda por parte de un abogado por parte del tribunal.
During this proceeding, you do have the right to remain silent and say nothing. But if you give up this right and you discuss your case, whatever you say may be used against you if your case goes to trial.
Usted tiene el derecho de permanecer en silencio, pero si usted renuncia a ese derecho, todo lo que usted diga puede ser utilizado en su contra en caso de que usted vaya a juicio.
During this proceeding and all other proceedings, you have certain rights. You have the right to the presumption of innocence until the state proves your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
Durante estos procedimientos usted cuenta con ciertos derechos. Uno de sus derechos es que a usted se le considere inocente hasta que a usted solamente se le podría declarar culpable cuando el Estado lo compruebe sin ningún tipo de duda razonable.
You have a right to accusation for your misdemeanor charges.
Usted tiene el derecho de acusación por los cargos de delito menor.
You have the right to a speedy and public trial by jury.
Usted tiene derecho a que se le haga un juicio público y rápido por medio de un jurado.
You have the right to see, hear, and cross-examine witnesses that are called to testify against you.
Usted tiene el derecho de ver y de declarar a los testigos que se presenten en contra suya.
You have a right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your own behalf by subpoena.
Usted tiene el derecho de que se puedan citar testigos quienes puedan declarar a su favor.
You have the right to testify and offer other evidence in your own defense should you choose to do so.
Your Honor, for the sake of fact, repeat.
Yes, you have the right to testify and offer other evidence in your own defense should you choose to do so.
Usted tiene el derecho de testificar y de ofrecer evidencia a su favor en caso de que usted decida hacerlo.
However, if you choose not to testify or offer any evidence, there will be no presumption of your guilt.
decida no testificar o presentar alguna evidencia, esto no se tomaría como una declaración de culpabilidad.
You also will have the right to have an attorney represent you.
Usted también cuenta con el derecho de que lo represente un abogado.
I want to discuss the issue of bond because you can post bond to get out of jail using 3 different ways.
También quiero explicarle sobre la fianza porque usted puede pagar la fianza de 3 formas.
The first option is you can post a cash bond, which means you will pay the full amount of the bond to the sheriff's department, and the sheriffs will keep that amount. And at the end of your case, that cash bond will be returned to you.
Usted puede pagar la fianza en efectivo y usted y la oficina del alguacil estaría conservando la fianza y una vez que termine su caso, esta fianza se le puede regresar.
The second option is if you do not have the full cash bond amount, you can post your bond by using a commercial bonding company.
La segunda opción es que en caso de que usted no cuente con el efectivo para poder pagar la fianza, entonces puede utilizar los servicios de una compañía para el pago de fianzas.
The commercial bonding companies are private companies who charge you a fee to post the bond for you.
Las compañías para el pago de fianzas son compañías privadas quienes le estarían cobrando una cuota para pagar la fianza en su representación.
The bonding company will charge you up to 15% of whatever your bond amount is.
Las compañías que se encargan del pago de fianzas le pueden cobrar hasta un 15% del total de la cantidad en la cual se haya establecido su fianza.
Once you pay this fee to the commercial bonding company, you do not get that money back.
Una vez que la compañía de fianzas haya pagado la fianza, a usted no se le puede regresar esa cantidad.
Okay, if you all can raise your right hand. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, scratch that. Let me explain the third option. Sorry about that. Madam Interpreter, if you can let them know, the third option for posting a bond is to post a bond using property. And if you use your property, you will have to have at least 3 times the bond amount in order to use your property to post bond.
La tercera opción es que usted puede pagar la fianza por medio de una propiedad, pero si va a pagar la fianza utilizando una propiedad, la propiedad debe de equivaler por lo menos 3 veces de la cantidad en la que se está estableciendo la fianza.
So you will have to have net equity in your house to post the bond. And the net equity has to have at least 3 times that bond amount.
Entonces usted tiene que tener liquidez neta en su casa y esta liquidez neta tiene que equivaler por lo menos 3 veces al valor de lo que se ha establecido en la fianza.
Okay, so now I'm going to explain to each of you one by one what you have been charged with. So if you could go ahead and raise your right hands so I can swear you in.
Bien, ahora le voy a explicar a cada uno de ustedes cuáles son los cargos que hay en contra suya y necesito que levanten su mano derecha para que yo pueda jurarlos.
Do you swear or affirm that the information that you will give to me and any information that you have included on your application for an attorney is true and correct? If so, say I do and lower your hands.
Ustedes juran y afirman que la información que ustedes me van a presentar y cualquier información que se haya presentado en la solicitud para el abogado es verdadera y correcta. Y de ser así, digan sí y por favor bajen la mano.
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, so I will have Mr. Hernandez first, please.
Primeramente voy a comenzar con el señor Hernández. Por favor.
Okay, which one is Hernandez? Okay, all right. So Mr. Hernandez, you have been charged with driving with no license and your bond is $1,000.
Señor Hernández, a usted se le echó el cargo por manejar su licencia y la fianza sería de $1,000.
Sí.
You can lower your hand, sir.
Ya puedo bajar la mano.
Do you understand your charge and your bond amount?
¿Usted entiende los cargos y la cantidad de la fianza?
Sí.
Do you believe you'll
Yes.
be, I'm sorry. Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
¿Usted cree que podría usted pagar la fianza?
Sí, ya lo pagaron.
Yes, I will be able to pay that.
Okay. Do you need the assistance of a court-appointed attorney, or do you plan to hire your own attorney?
¿Usted planea solicitar la ayuda de un abogado por parte del tribunal? ¿Usted podría pagar su propio abogado?
Yo podría pagar el propio abogado.
¿Perdón, señor?
Yo puedo pagar el abogado.
I could pay for my own attorney.
He said he will pay for his own attorney.
¿Me dice que usted va a pagar su propio abogado?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. I am scheduling his preliminary hearing date for June 15th, 2021. But if he bonds out, then that court date will be canceled and he'll receive a new court date in the mail.
Yo voy a establecer la fecha de la audiencia preliminar para el día 15 de junio del 2021, pero si usted paga la fianza, entonces esta fecha se cancelaría y usted recibiría por correo una nueva fecha para esa audiencia.
Ok, pero una persona, la fianza ya la pagaron.
¿Perdón?
La fianza ya la pagaron.
But as far as I know, the bond has already been paid.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Madam Interpreter?
But the bond has already been paid.
Yes, so the bond is $1,000, and if you pay the bond and you get out of jail, that court date of June 15th will be canceled.
Pues su fianza es de $1,000, pero si usted llega a pagar esta fianza, la fecha que se establece con el tribunal del día 15 se estaría cancelando y usted estaría recibiendo una nueva fecha por correo.
Ok, está bien.
And he'll receive a new court
All
notice.
right, that's fine.
Okay, and he'll receive a new court notice in the mail of when he needs to return to court.
Usted estaría recibiendo un aviso que le explicaría cuándo usted tendría que regresar para presentarse ante el tribunal.
Ok.
All right, do you have any other,
All right.
do you have any other questions?
¿Tiene usted alguna otra pregunta?
No, eso sería todo.
No, that will be all.
Okay, you may be excused, Mr. Hernandez. Have a good day.
Señor Hernández, ya se puede retirar, que tenga un buen día.
Okay, so we'll have Ramirez Alexander Ventura.
Tenemos ahora a Ramírez Alexander Ventura.
Okay, so you have been charged with obstruction of an officer, public drunk, a simple assault on an officer, and criminal trespass.
Entonces se le está haciendo un cargo por obstrucción a un oficial, estar ebrio de forma pública, agresión simple a un oficial y también allanamiento criminal.
Your total bond amount for all of those offenses is $7,000.
El total de la fianza por todos estos delitos es de $7,000.
Do you understand the charges and the bond amount?
¿Usted entiende los cargos y la cantidad de la fianza?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, as a condition of the bond, you cannot go back to the premises located at 6640 Terra Boulevard, Jonesboro, Georgia.
Y como condición de la fianza, usted no puede regresar a las circunferencias de la dirección 6640 Terra Boulevard en Jonesboro, Georgia.
Sí.
Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
¿Usted cree que podría pagar la fianza?
Do you believe you'll be able to make bond?
¿Usted cree que usted podría pagar la fianza?
Sí, pero es necesario que me voy a comunicar con un familiar.
I will have to talk to a family member.
Okay, do you want to be considered for a court-appointed attorney?
¿Quiere que se le considere para que se pueda recibir ayuda por parte de un abogado del tribunal?
Sí.
Okay, are you currently working?
¿Actualmente está trabajando?
¿Mande?
¿Actualmente usted está trabajando?
Bien.
¿Perdón?
¿Cómo dice?
¿Actualmente usted está trabajando?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, how much do you earn per month?
¿Cuánto gana usted al mes?
Como unos $2,000.
Around $2,000.
Okay, I am appointing an attorney to represent you. Do you have an address or phone number where the attorney can reach you?
Voy a asignar a un abogado para que lo represente. ¿Usted tiene alguna dirección o número telefónico donde el abogado se pueda comunicar con usted?
No, es que es necesario, me tengo que comunicar con mi patrón.
¿Perdón, señor?
Quiero comunicarme con mi patrón para que me pueda conseguir un abogado.
The attorney can contact my boss.
I'm sorry, what did he say, Madam Interpreter?
The attorney can contact my boss.
Okay, well, we need some sort of contact information, an address or a phone number, because if he bonds out, we need to know how to contact him.
Necesitamos tener una dirección o número telefónico porque si usted sale por medio de la fianza, entonces necesitamos comunicarnos con usted.
¿Mande?
¿Perdón?
No le escuché.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. As I mentioned, we need some sort of phone number or address. I don't care if it's your boss or whose information. We just need a phone number or address so that way your attorney knows how to contact you.
Señor, necesitamos una dirección o un número telefónico para que, no importa si es tuya o no la información, pero necesitamos un número telefónico y dirección donde el abogado se pueda comunicar con usted.
¿O el 770?
¿Perdón?
770-371-0512.
Y me dijo 770, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Es 770-371-0512.
Okay, so you have a court date of June 15th, 2021. That is your preliminary hearing date where the court will determine whether or not there's enough probable cause or enough evidence to keep you arrested on those charges.
Entonces, va a tener una audiencia preliminar el día 15 de junio del 2021 para determinar si es suficiente causa probable o suficiente evidencia para su arresto.
However, if you bond out and you're no longer in jail, that June 15th court date will be canceled and you will receive a new court date.
Pero en caso de que usted llegara a pagar la fianza, entonces la fecha en su tribunal para el día 15 de junio se estaría cancelando y usted estaría recibiendo una nueva fecha por correo.
Sí, está bien.
All right.
Do you have any questions, Mr. Ventura?
¿Y lo podemos mandar por correo?
¿Tiene alguna pregunta?
¿Y lo podemos mandar la fianza por correo?
¿Perdón?
¿Y la fianza lo podemos mandar por correo?
Are we able to pay the bond over the mail?
I am not sure. You will need to contact or call the different bonding companies and ask the bonding company those questions.
Yo no tengo esa información. Sería necesario que usted se comunicara con la compañía del pago para la fianza para que le haga estas preguntas.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions?
¿Tienes alguna otra pregunta?
No, le pregunto si el dinero para que puedo la fianza, para que lo puedo pagar, ¿puedo mandarle por correo?
Well, my question will be about the bond. Will I be able to send the payment over the mail?
I cannot answer that, Mr. Ventura. I don't know the answer to that. Call the bonding company and the bonding company will let you know.
Señor Ventura, yo no tengo esa información. Para eso usted tendría que comunicarse con la compañía para el pago de fianza.
Ok, sí, está bien.
All right, that's fine.
All right. Thank you, sir. Okay.
Gracias, señor.
So now, Mr. Ramirez Ezequiel Ventura, I'll handle your case.
Ahora, el señor Ramírez Ezequiel Ventura, usted sigue.
Okay, so you have been charged with the same charges as your brother. That's obstruction of an officer, public drunk, simple assault on an officer, and criminal trespass.
Pues señor, a usted se le están haciendo los mismos cargos que a su hermano. Obstrucción de un oficial, estar ebrio en la vía pública, agresión simple contra un oficial e invasión criminal.
So your total bond on all of those charges is $7,000.
Así que la cantidad completa de fianza por todos estos cargos es de $7,000.
¿Está bien?
You also have
All right.
a special condition on your bond, just like your brother. You cannot go back to 6640 Terra Boulevard in Jonesboro, Georgia.
Y también usted cuenta con la misma condición especial para la fianza, al igual que su hermano. Usted no puede acudir nuevamente a la dirección 6640 Terra Boulevard en Jonesboro, Georgia.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes. ¿Usted entiende esto?
¿Mandé?
¿Usted comprende esto?
Sí, yo no puedo también enviar la fianza igual con mi hermano.
All right, as my father, I will be paying the bond.
Okay. Do you want to be considered for a court-appointed attorney, or do you plan to hire your own attorney?
¿Usted quiere que se le considere para un abogado por parte del tribunal o usted cree poder pagar por su propio abogado?
No, pues, voy a hablar con el patrón, a lo mejor me ayuda.
I will be talking to my boss.
¿Mandé?
How much do you earn per month?
¿Cuánto gana usted al mes?
$2,000.
¿Perdón, señor?
$2,000 al mes.
$2,000.
Okay, do you have a phone number or an address where you can be reached?
¿Hay algún número telefónico, dirección en donde usted se le pueda contactar?
Es el mismo número que dio mi hermano, es la misma dirección, puntos.
The same information that my brother gave you, because we live together.
Okay, so I am gonna put your phone number down as 770-371-0512, which is the phone number your brother gave me. Is that correct?
Y entonces voy a incluir en su información el número telefónico 770-371-0512, porque ese es el número telefónico que me dio su hermano. ¿Es correcto?
Sí, eso es correcto.
Okay.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, I will go ahead and appoint an attorney to represent you in this case.
Entonces voy a asignar a un abogado para que lo represente en este caso.
Yo voy a buscar un abogado.
¿Perdón, señor?
Voy a buscar un abogado.
I will be looking for an attorney.
Okay, that's fine. In the meanwhile, you're going to have an attorney who can represent you. And if you hire someone else, then the person you hire can represent you moving forward.
Entonces, por el momento, yo voy a asignar a un abogado quien lo pueda representar y si después usted consigue otro abogado, este otro abogado lo puede representar.
Está bien.
Okay.
Yo lo puedo enviar la fianza
All right.
yo lo puedo mandar la fianza por correo.
And will I be able to pay the bond over the mail?
I do not know the answer to that question. You will have to call the bonding companies and ask that question to the bonding companies.
Yo no tengo esa información. Sería necesario que se comunicara con la compañía que se encarga del pago de fianzas para preguntarles a ellos esa información.
Sí, okay, sí, yo me voy a comunicar con ellos y me va a ayudar el patrón.
Yes, I will be contacting them and my boss will help me.
Okay. You do have a court date of June 15th, 2021. That is your preliminary hearing date. However, if you bond out, that court date will be canceled and you will receive a new court notice in the mail of when you should return to court.
A usted se le está dando una fecha para la audiencia preliminar del día 15 de junio del 2021. Pero en caso de que usted llegara a pagar la fianza, entonces usted estaría recibiendo una nueva fecha para la audiencia preliminar por correo.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions, Mr. Ventura?
Yes. Señor Ventura, ¿tiene alguna pregunta?
Entonces, ¿cuándo dijo que lo puedo acabar de pagar la fianza?
Then when you said that I will be able to pay the bond,
¿Vale?
excuse me,
What was his question, Madam Interpreter? I didn't understand it.
when did you mention that I will be able to pay the bond?
Oh, you can pay the bond as soon as you have the money to do so. I am going to complete the paperwork today. And if you are able to bond out this afternoon, you can bond out this afternoon.
Usted puede pagar la fianza en el momento que usted tenga la cantidad disponible. Yo voy a completar los documentos para esta tarde y si usted para esta tarde puede pagar la fianza, lo puede hacer.
Ok, pero mejor me da una hoja y yo lo envío por correo la fianza. ¿A cuántas fechas me
Well,
puede?
it's just that I will rather
¿Cuántas fechas lo
I
puedo?
would rather get the document and send.
¿En cuántas
I
fechas?
would rather get the document and send the bond amount over the mail. I just need a date.
Ok, ya está bien.
All right, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, all right, Mr. Ventura. If there are no other questions, have a good day, sir.
Señor Ventura, ya no, por el momento ya no tengo más preguntas. Si es todo de su parte, entonces que tenga un excelente día.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madam Interpreter. I appreciate your assistance.
Your Honor, it was my pleasure. Thank you for choosing more services. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Deputy, we're all good. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna take this paperwork up to Bookend so they can fax it to you.
Oh, the waiver forms?
Ma'am.
Okay, I'll keep a lookout for it.
Okay, thanks.
Oh, well, actually, I don't think I have access to the fax. Can you all email it to me?
Okay, I'll tell them to email it to you.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Bye-bye.